Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really interesting question for our digital age. When it comes to your health, who do you trust? We're exploring a perspective from Osman over at the YouTube channel The Blind Muslim Yogi, and he raises some fantastic points about where we should be turning for medical advice. So let's just be honest, we've all done this, right? You're up late scrolling through YouTube, and suddenly you're watching this brilliant professor, this world-renowned expert, maybe even a Nobel Prize winner, and they're explaining everything about health. It's captivating, and it's so easy to get sucked into that world of high-level expertise. But that's where the problem starts. You have this global expert telling you one thing, and then you have your local doctor, the one you actually see, telling you something else. So who do you listen to? That's the big dilemma, and it's a very real one for a lot of us. Okay, let's break this down, because the comparison here is just fascinating. The online expert, they have a massive following, PhDs, professorships, and they operate in what our source calls an idealistic world of broad theories. But your local doc, they're operating in your personal reality, and their authority comes from something very, very different, a legal license to practice medicine. And this is where it gets really interesting. According to the perspective we're exploring, the biggest difference isn't the number of YouTube subscribers or the fancy university titles. Nope, it all comes down to one simple but incredibly powerful thing: legal authority. And boom, this quote just cuts right to the chase. It doesn't matter how brilliant that expert from halfway across the world is. The question is, do they have the legal standing to actually be your doctor where you live? More often than not, the answer is no. And that's a huge distinction. You see, that license isn't just a piece of paper hanging on the wall. It is a promise. It's proof that a local medical board says, yes, this person meets our standards right here in your community. It's what gives them the legal power to actually prescribe a treatment, to write something that your local pharmacy will accept. It's a whole system of accountability. Okay, so the legal side is massive. But there's another piece to this puzzle that our source argues is just invaluable, something no online expert, no matter how great, can ever have. And that's your personal medical history. And this right here is such a powerful piece of advice. He makes a really strong case against what he calls doctor hopping. Because when you stick with one person, they're not just treating a symptom, they're treating you based on a deep, rich understanding of your entire health journey. Just think about everything they know. They've seen your lab results over years, not just one snapshot. They can spot tiny changes that anyone else would miss. They know about your local environment, maybe a common allergy in the area, and they've treated hundreds of other people in your community. That kind of personalized context is something you just can't get from a video meant for millions. Now, let's shift gears a little bit because our source brings up a final point that's less about laws and lab tests and more about, well, about how we feel. It's the emotional and psychological side of things, and it can make all the difference. And before we get into the whole doctor-patient relationship, just let this number sink in for a second. 10+ years. That's the kind of time your doctor has likely invested, a decade or more of their life, in grueling, intense study, all to gain the competency to treat you. That alone commands a certain level of respect, you know? This is such a gut check moment, isn't it? It's a simple, direct question. If you walk in there and you don't actually respect the person across from you, what are the odds you're going to follow their advice perfectly? Be honest, it's probably not very high. Your own attitude could be getting in the way of your healing. But when that respect is there, man, it's a total game changer. Suddenly, you're not just a patient being told what to do. You're an active partner in your own healthcare. You're more willing to be open and honest, you ask better questions, you feel more confident. It creates this amazing partnership that's really at the heart of good medicine. So after all that, what's the big takeaway? How do we take all these ideas and actually use them to make smarter choices for our own health? Well, the source lays out this really simple 3-step framework. First, and most importantly, check the license. Make sure they're legally allowed to treat you where you are. Second, try to build a consistent history with one person. And third, and this is key, pick someone you genuinely respect, because that trust is what makes everything else work. And really, this is the bottom line. It's not about online experts being bad and local doctors being good. Not at all. Think of it this way. Online content is amazing for broadening your mind, for learning new things, for getting new ideas. But when it's time for a personal treatment plan, for a diagnosis that's about you, That is absolutely the job of your licensed local doctor. And hey, if this perspective really resonated with you and you want to hear more from Osman, he mentioned on his channel that you can check out his website to find more of his discussions. So, we'll leave you with this final thought. In our world of endless information, the real skill isn't just finding information, it's knowing who to trust with your personal questions. So take a second and ask yourself, how will you find that perfect balance between all the knowledge online and the deep value of personal, professional care? It's something for all of us to think about. Thanks for tuning in.